Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and today we're going to be changing it up just a little bit. A little change of pace. We're going to show you two Platoon videos. This is Netherworld and Die Fighting, and he's going to be running around in the Lupus, the Poopus. God, this thing's broken. And the Tiger P, very strong Platoon here, and they have to play strong because there's a lot on offer here in terms of red tanks. There's a lot of them. And they're going to come at these two. Then I'm going to show you a very good game from my amigo Martin Dogger of Martin Dogger YouTube fame. He's running with Acid Burns, a couple of the boys from Empros, and they're in Tier 10. So I look forward to that one. That's coming straight after this one. Now, Fort Despair, it's not changed much. It's one of the least changed maps in the game, in my opinion. Has had tinkering here and there. It's aesthetically more pleasing, but it still revolves very much around a heavy route and a medium flank with camping TDs on either end. And much like it's always been on Fort Despair, if you pick wrong and the other side all picks one way, then you can end up with not a lot of friends left on your team and an awful lot of reds to chomp through. And these two really have to start chewing because they chomp off an awful lot. They're in the right tanks to do so, though. One of the things a lot of people don't realize about the Lupus is it's actually a gun depression tank. Now, the gun is typically Russian. It's big. It's boofy. It misses as often as it hits on very hard armor targets. But the gun also features a 12 degrees of gun depression, which is nuts. It's absolutely free. 11 degrees of gun depression, which is absolutely insane. That's Comet-esque. And this is on a 400 alpha heavy tank that's rear mounted turret, should give it less gun depression. But you know what? There's also a huge streak of bacon halfway down the nozzle. So who am I to say it's crazy? Netherworld's set up in a wonderful position, and it's pressuring all the red guys into actually pushing into this cap area. And not only is he in a wonderful position to make them move and make them come out to try and target him, he's in a great position to show very, very little of the poor part of his armor profile, i.e. the rear and the sides. So what these poor guys in the IS and the 3485 are seeing is a whole lot of red and a 400 alpha damage gun. Don't mind his mate in the Tiger P, who is raining unholy hell on that northern flank versus the two ATs. Let's focus on Netherworld here, who has held that cap to perfection and allowed the red team to break upon him like a wave. It's still 3 tanks on 4, but they're working their hardest to wind it back in. I would like to point out too that if you do want to send replays in, I accept them. I put them in here. They don't all go in because I get lots and lots of them, but it is bushkagaming@gmail.com, that email address at the bottom of the screen. This has been a textbook case of 2 good tanks driven well. They didn't shirk. They picked the cap area, but they didn't just go to the cap area to snipe. They went to the cap area and they used the cap to pressure, which is a really good tactic and a valid tactic that just isn't used often enough in games. So many times it is the ignored part of the gameplay, getting into that cap and making things move. Now there's 2 left. Parada Jodon in the AT7 and his mate in the AT7. Now the AT7 is actually quite an underrated tank. At some point, Skate and I are going to get together and do the long-awaited AT video series because we both like this tank, and I want Skate to do a masterclass on it. He's really, really good at driving these AT tanks, the 15A and the AT7. And you can see they are giving this big, derpy gun. He's like, what? Well, buddy, you've hit a lot of good shots. You got to take the good with the bad. He's waiting. There we go. Now they're starting to suck up the good stuff and tear it apart. These AT7s are being quite passive, which is tough when you go very, very slowly. You don't get a lot of choices in terms of being passive or aggressive. Also, have to do it slowly. Now, they have great DPM, but they don't have amazing penetration values. And this Lupus has proper heavy tank hit points. You can see nearly 1,400 hit points here for Netherworld. And him and his mate Die Fighting are using those hit points to soak up the best punches that the AT7s can throw at them and then just wipe the floor with the remnants. Unfortunate there. AT7's doing anything particularly wrong. They just got stuck in a really tough matchup. And Netherworld and Die Fighting do a great job of carrying the team onwards and upwards to victory. Now that's our first match of the day. A couple of very deserving heroes there in the LUPUS and the Tiger P, tearing into a couple of AT7s on the opposition team. Just wanted to put that one up there, particularly because a lot of people tell me that I only feature videos that are like tier 10 tanks and have massive damage. I'm going to show a lot more videos over the next wee while that feature just interesting situations. Like you saw that 1v1 in the T95 the other night. That had me laughing my ass off. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Here we have my amigo Martin Dogger and his mate Acid Burns. Does it ever? Martin's running around in the Object-140, which is just a freaking amazing tank. All the Russian mediums really are. There's so many good medium tanks at tier 10. It's one of the best parts about playing the tier is you get to play these Viper-like fast, high DPM vehicles with low slung chassis and very, very, very effective guns. Now Martin's doing a good job here. He's actually keeping it tight. He's watching the minimap. He's used camo there and the brush cover to push up. He's pretty certain that he is unspotted now because there was no one moving up on that flank. He had a good overlook and he manages to happen across a 121B. Now, the Object-140 has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is wonderful on that shot. 5 degrees of gun depression with the T62A, he probably doesn't get that shot. But 6 degrees of six degrees of gun depression. 6 degrees of gun depression. That got him an invite to the dance. And he's just lining that shot up. He's expecting him to pop. Still no one showing. Having a lot of patience here with this gun. He hasn't repaired it yet. I'm a little bit OCD. That would have triggered me tremendously. I would have repaired it twice if I was allowed to repair it. And I've got to be honest, watching the replay did trigger me just a little. The MD had not pressed that button yet. I was actually... The first time I watched this, I was like, dude, just press the button. Please, just press the button. Come on, man. Press the damn button. It's a smart move, though. He's not missing out on anything by not pressing that button. It's not like it was a big deal to do it. And he was just chilling on the edge of the flank and putting in big-ass numbers, too. He set that Leopard PTA on fire, finished him up, and he's now getting stuck into the Jaeger-Roo on the flank. He has a very, very good mate behind him in a very, very big tank. And you can see right there, while he is ripping into that Jaeger-Roo, his amigo Acid Burns is looking to set shots up at the back in the FB215-183. It really is an ideal situation for this, for these two guys. They've hit the flank, and there is nothing worse. In your worst nightmare, you couldn't imagine a worse thing than a 183 getting flank shots into you. Now, that was really unfortunate. MD's trying to get across there and put his tank in the way of that Jaeger-Roo. He did the right thing. He was trying to share the hit point pool to make sure that they kept that Jaeger-Roo in the game for as long as possible, but just got there a touch too late. And the Jaeger-Roo, obviously not in Discord with MD and Acid, wasn't able to take advantage. Now, that's a tough pairing of tanks. 2 IS-4s. You know what's also very, very tough? An aggressive 183. And no one wants to be in the way of that thing. This E3, critical error there, and MD smacks him for it. Pumping and pushing all the way through the center of the map now, and they've got a fairly large and healthy amount of hit points still on offer to deal with this 121B, the IS-4, and the E75 that has been taking a very, very slow road to China. Now, by the time Martin turns around, though, there's a lot less hit points on offer. Still 1,441 hit points, and he's in the perfect position for a Russian medium. A Russian medium's bread and butter is behind these very low berms. The reason being that they can angle up their upper plate to perfectly match the contours of that hill. And that means that they can get auto bounce zones all over the place when they're ducking and weaving and poking out. That E75 quite simply cannot handle the kind of DPM that the Object-140 can bring to bear on it. And it sure as hell can't handle it when he's firing heat and doing so from range. So Martin's doing the right thing here. He's moving, and he wants to make these guys trade damage for distance, which is an excellent way of doing business. And a little bit of a juke there. was last spotted heading to the south. Low slung Russian tank, hardly used. Answers to the name of Martin Dogger. Oh, hello! Surprise! Say hello to my little friend! And he gets a clutch bounce there. Even though the E75 was firing the APCR, didn't matter. And now this is all swings and roundabouts for the Dogger. He is absolutely on top of the world and looking down on creation. He's cock-a-hoop. He's got a hit point advantage. He's got a DPM advantage. He's got a mobility advantage. All that could happen to go wrong now is the IS-4 gets a Russian heavy tank advantage, which is they just bounce shots. They have absolutely no right to bounce. MD's not going to give him an easy out, though. He is waiting to see if he gets any kind of movement from the IS-4. If he resets that cap. No, he's going to still maintain that one. So Martin's going to peek and just show off the top of that turret. He's visible, he's spotted, and that's not an ideal place to be taking on an IS-4 from. What he wants to do right now is get up close, personal, make sure he hits the first couple of shots and turn this into a hit point trading situation, because that is a situation that he can absolutely win. The IS-4 has to be approached with caution because obviously its armor profile is phenomenal, and he's done that and gets that first one in, and that makes the rest of it a whole lot easier. He's able to get on the back door, swivel around, make the IS-4, flummox him, move him, shake him with science, and even then that IS-4 is capable of soaking up huge amounts of damage. Not a bad effort there from Furtivo Warrior in the IS-4, and an all-round excellent platoon game. The 183 particularly playing at the back there was in a great position, and then when his platoon mate needed him, when his platoon mate was getting pushed on, he rolled on up and used that hit point pool and big 183mm gun to clear the road and let the numbers sing from Martin Dogger's Object 140. 5,908, which is a fair bloody amount of damage to do in an Object 140, and he was matched stroke for stroke, pound for pound, eyeball for eyeball, with a very good outing of 4,811 from the 183. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. A little bit of platoon play, always a good fun time here on channel. As always, look after yourselves, and until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.